Okay, y'all. So I'm back where I'm going to be sharing my prophecies from Goddess Hekate for 2017. Okay. First of all, I have to say that communicating with her has not been easy during this time of her underworld descent. And I explained to y'all before that during her descent, it's almost as if like when you go to sleep at night, your conscious part of your mind is shut off. Rather, a part of your consciousness, excuse me, rather, a part of your consciousness is shut down. But you do still, dream, and there's consciousness in that. But you won't necessarily remember that, your physical body is asleep in your bed. And you may not necessarily remember the reality of your physical life while you're dreaming and experiencing something else. Okay? Now, in certain instances, you will remember it. You'll be dreaming and then you'll remember that you're asleep. And you'll remember your entire waking life. But you could still stay in the dream and it becomes a lucid dream. And, I'm not talking about special cases like that. I'm talking about, for the most part, just understand it like that. Because when Goddess Hekate went into the underworld, something similar to that happened to her. There was a disconnect in her consciousness when she was in the underworld. Kind of like she was put into a slumber or in a dream state. And so, as a consequence of that, communicating with her, for me as an oracle to her, has been difficult, to say the least. It's almost like there is times when she seems more lucid, and then times when she does not. If that makes sense to y'all. It makes sense to me because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But hopefully with the example I gave you about dreaming and stuff, hopefully that makes sense to y'all. So, I don't talk to her every day anymore like I used to before she descended. I used to communicate with her every single day and things like that. We had very long conversations and very in-depth. And when she has been descended in the underworld, it's been much more short when we do communicate, and much more of the when we communicate, there's different methods, or I should say there's just different ways that the communications come in. Okay, sometimes it will literally just be a telepathic conversation of, dialogue of words. Okay. And most of the time, accompanying that, there will be images and scenes and feelings and, that also come in, that I receive. Y'all, communicating with deity is like nothing compared to any other type of communication that exists. Okay, it's really a lot to take in. When I first became an oracle, it was fucking terrifying. Okay, it really was. It was overwhelming. It's like your own consciousness is flooded, overwhelmed with the deity communication coming in. It is scary. It feels like something maybe possibly trying to possess you. Okay, at first, when you don't understand it, it kind of feels like that. It took me a while to get over the initial fear of communicating, which is basically channeling. That's kind of communication I do. I channel Hekate, and it is a form of possession because she possesses, certain faculties of my brain and my mind in order to interject thoughts and inspirations into my mind. And that is how there's a telepathic communication going on. Alright? So, whenever I first became an oracle and I was learning how to master the communication process, it was terrifying to me because I had never truly experienced it like that before, and it honestly felt to me like as if something was trying to possess me, and I had to learn how to accept that and receive it before I finally did experience it fully, and then it wasn't scary anymore because I wasn't actually being possessed physically in my body, but it was just relinquishing a portion of myself to her control, certain of my mental faculties. It is almost like, now that I think about it and break it down for y'all, whenever you download an app on your phone and it asks for all these different permissions, it asks for like access to this and access to that and access to this and that, and you're like, why does this app need access to all this different shit on my phone? And then when you use the app, it's not like overwhelming your entire phone. It's just using bits and pieces of those different things that you gave it access to. Okay? That's how it is. For me, when I am channeling Hekate, which is basically a constant process, because I am an oracle to her, you know, it's like I downloaded the app and it's just always there, and she can access it whenever she wants. All right, I hope that's a good analogy for y'all. That's how it is. So at the beginning of this, it was frightening. You know, anytime when we have to give up control, it's kind of scary. And especially when you're talking about, you know, your own mind and your own, you know, your thoughts and your feelings and things like that. You know, when you give access to something else to have an effect on that, it can be scary. Now, with that said, actually experiencing it and doing it is not scary at all. It's just the idea of it before you actually experience it that is actually scary. So once again, it's like when you're looking at an app that you're going to download on your phone or whatever, and you're like, well, why does it need access to all of this and this and that? You know, you might have thoughts of it's going to be reading your text messages and doing all this other shit that it's not supposed to do. And that's just a reasonable fear, okay? That's how it is with these deities and stuff, or different spirits that you allow into you. Now, I have never been fully possessed physically, like my body, by a deity. I don't know that I would ever allow that or agree to it. I don't think it's necessary, so I would never do that. You know, but I do channel deities a lot, because I gain to my own intelligence when I allow them to communicate with me, using my mind in my mind. So they are using my mind. They're accessing it. They're using it. But they're not abusing that. They're literally just using what they need to communicate to me. Because that's what I agree to. So, you know, I said all that just so that you could get an understanding of this, in case you all did not know how that works. And back to what I was saying at the beginning of this, though, you know, when Hekate descended into the underworld, it is like a portion of her was, you know, put to sleep. And that portion of her that was put to sleep, you know, is her consciousness of this reality. Okay? And in fact, that's how it is for most every single spirit that enters into the underworld. It's almost in a way like they forget about the physical realm. There's ways to make them lucid. Okay, and that's where we have our rituals of ancestor magic, that entire class of magic of working with the departed, ancestor work, necromancy, all of that. those are means by which the dead or the spirits in the underworld, the other side, whatever you want to call it, that realm, are given a little bit of lucidity of the physical realm again. Okay? And, you know, they're able to remember you and interact with you, you know, when you do that, or participate in that. So, as Hekate has been in the underworld, communicating with her has been strained and difficult, because for the most part, she has been occupied in that realm and invested in it, and not in this one. I hope y'all understand this, because there's a lot that, there's just a lot to it all that I'm trying to summarize for y'all, just for the sake of this video, of predictions, okay? Because, you know, basically my point is that communicating with her has been difficult, okay? And even so, I do have some predictions for this year, 2017. You know, not predictions, but prophecies from her, from Goddess Hekate. And it has been difficult to interpret the messages that she has given about the prophecies. And it has been difficult because the communications were strained and not so fluid and frequent. They've been very spaced apart and strained when they do happen. All right. So I just want y'all to understand that, and know that it has been equally as difficult for me to interpret those messages. So there's not that many prophecies that I can share for 2017, because I will not, you know, come on here and share things that I have not fully understood or comprehended yet, because then that would make me, you know, irresponsible. So I won't do that. But I will share the ones that I absolutely feel that I have come to a full understanding of for 2017. So I had mentioned a couple of things already on a past video, but the quality of that video was really not that good. So I'm going to go ahead and reshare those in this video, which concerns the prophecy that Hekate gave me in, I think, November. And this should really give y'all a bit of an insight of November 4th of 2016, she gave me a prophecy about, or she gave me an oracle about this year, 2017, which I then had to interpret and make it into prophecy in a focused, comprehensive way. All right. So, first of all, if you look back on my past videos of the oracle, because I have a playlist here on my channel, and I have several playlists on my channel, and one of the playlists is specifically focused on the oracular and prophetic videos that Goddess Hekate communicates to me. And you can see everything of that I have shared publicly is there and documented. And then you can take that information and, see what actually manifested. Okay? So basically, in the end of 2014, in the end of 2015, Goddess Hekate was telling me that, through visions, through dreams, through other communications, because that was before she descended to the underworld, and so it was much more vivid communications, frequently, and long, drawn-out conversations. And she was giving me insight about quite a bit of things, because she was giving me a whole bunch of insight ahead of time, because she knew that she was descending, and she knew what that would mean as far as communicating with her. I did not know yet fully, but she did. And so she was giving me a whole bunch of information so that I would have it before she descended, because she knew it would be difficult to communicate with me once she had descended. I didn't fully know that. I had some kind of an inkling of it, but I did not fully know it. But she knew. And so she gave me a lot of information and prophecies about her descent itself, as far as what would happen in the world while she was away. Okay, and I shared all of that in my videos, in the past videos. And this year we have seen so much of it come true already. And so she prophesied about the Earth's Kundalini, as far back as in 2015. I did not interpret it fully until halfway through 2016. And once again, that is all documented in my videos when I came to the full interpretation of it and stuff like that. So basically, well, I just brought that up because it leads into some of these prophecies for 2017, because she is still not returned from the underworld yet into this realm. She's still not returned yet, so some of those prophecies are still relevant to this year, 2017. So if you have not seen those videos that I already posted, or if you just do not remember, I recommend that you watch them again, or I recommend that you just watch them for the first time and just see how it all flows along, okay? And see how or see which prophecies that I already have shared will play into this year, 2017, okay? Now, Hekate is returning this year from the underworld realm, but it is a long, drawn-out process, which basically takes 7 months. Specifically, it takes 7 lunar cycles of the waxing moon, from the dark moon to the full moon. 7 of those cycles for her to return through the 7 underworld veils or gateways. And those are, they're like veils of energy, frequency, vibration. Not like a physical doorway. They are bands of frequency, vibration, okay? At the same time, they are the chakras of the earth. And at the same time, they are Hecate's own chakras as the world soul. Okay? So her consciousness is rising up from the underworld, which I guess would be considered like her root chakra. Of just her own self, her own survival, basically. Rising up to her own crown chakra, where she becomes the fully conscious world soul again. Okay? So in her underworld descent, we had her going down through the 7 gateways. What was happening to her was that her consciousness was traveling down her chakra system. So, like I talked about at the beginning of this, where I said her underworld journey was as if like she was being put to sleep. An aspect of her consciousness that was her consciousness as the world soul. That was being lowered. Okay. Your crown chakra is your highest self. It is you as one with the divine. It is your cosmic consciousness. So if we understand that the earth is alive and that its soul is Goddess Hekate, the world soul, then we can understand that it has chakras as well, and that when its energy, its life force, is at its crown chakra, it has cosmic consciousness. Okay. Hekate is the cosmic soul and the world soul. She's both of those. At the same time, she's also your higher self. When your consciousness has ascended to your crown chakra, you become merged with her. Alright? Shakti energy. At the level of the world soul, it's called Shekinah. Alright? Hekate is the bridge, the mediator between the divine as source and then the divine as all the individuated pieces of it, including us, including the earth and the other planets and stuff like that. All of it. So she's everything and the source at the same time. Okay. So even though she remains as the cosmic soul, at the level of the world soul, that was where her underworld descent was taking place. Alright? So understand that. Just like you as an individual person, you can raise your consciousness through your chakras or down again. Hekate is still in you as your spirit, but your consciousness can be merged with her at your crown chakra or not. Okay? That's how it is for the world. The world's own soul. It can be in its crown chakra and then thus merged with Hekate. As the divine, cosmic soul, cosmic consciousness, or it can be lowered and thus not connected. So understand that. That is the process that Hekate has been going through at the level of world soul. Once again, there's layers to this. Okay? It's a multi-layered thing. Right. But at the level of the world soul, that is where Hekate's descent has been taking place. And her return is the raising of that consciousness back up to the cosmic consciousness once again, and the attainment of the crown chakra of the earth. Okay, so it takes basically 7 months, but specifically 7 waxing moon cycles from the dark moon to the full moon, as the world soul consciousness is raised up through each of its chakras back to its crown chakra. And at that point, it will become cosmically conscious again. And once again, it's Shekinah when it attains that. When you, as a person, attain your cosmic consciousness, Shakti energy. When the world attains it, the world soul, Shekinah. And that's the presence of God on earth. The presence of the source of the divine on the earth physical realm. Okay? The presence of the source of God in you is Shakti. Alright? So, I hope you understand all that. And if you don't, just do research on the chakra system and understand that as above, so below, as within, so without. Everything is a extension of everything else. The microcosm and the macrocosm. If you know your own self and the energy systems and how they work, you can understand that the world, the solar system, the galaxy, the universe has a similar system. Okay? It's just how it works, y'all. It's all interconnected. You're not separate from it. You're a part of it. And it goes infinitely larger and infinitely smaller. Okay? So, knowing your own self, understanding, how your consciousness works, how your energy works, how your chakras work, how your aura works, all of those inner mechanisms, understanding that, grasping it, learning how to control it. That is your key to understanding at the greater levels how, the divine works and the energies of the world and the solar system, astrology, and all of these other things. Okay? I hope y'all understand that. So, and once again, if you don't understand it, do your research until you do, because it is so vitally important that you understand that as above, so below. And the most important lesson you need to learn is know thyself. And there's a lot of disciplines to all of that information, knowledge, and wisdom. Know thyself, and you will know the gods and all of the secrets of the universe. Why? Because it's all a similar system. If I know the anatomy of my body, then I know the anatomy of every other single living person's body. Alright? If I know the secrets of consciousness, my own consciousness, then I know psychology and how other people's consciousness works. If I know my chakras and my aura and how all of that works, then I know how it works in other people. That is just how this works. But it's applied to an infinitely larger scale and an infinitely smaller scale. Alright. So when we're dealing with Hecate's return, we need to understand that this is how it works, and she will be going through a process of, empowerment, because that's what you're doing when you, as a person, raise your chakra's energy and your consciousness to the crown chakra. You're becoming more empowered and more self-actualized into your highest potential. Okay, so this whole process is like a rebirth for Goddess Hekate. She lowered down to her root chakra, and now she's in the process, at the time that I'm recording this, she is now in the process of raising back up her energy and her consciousness and her life force back to her own crown chakra at the level of the world soul scale. And once that's achieved, she will then become the Shekinah again and have dominion over the physical realm once again. Okay. So, that also plays, the reason why I put all of that in this video is because that also all plays a role in the prophecies for this year. Okay. Her return is a major factor in this, because by July of this year, 2017, she will be fully returned to her crown chakra. And basically from January to July, she'll be regaining power. So as she becomes more conscious and more powerful, we will begin to see things changing for the better. Okay? Now, at the same time too, there's going to be a lot of destruction, because she's going to be destroying things. Why? Because while she was in the underworld, she was not keeping checks and balances on the world like she usually does when she's in dominion. So things have gone crazy in her absence. And as she is regaining power, that's going to cause two things. For one, these demonic energies and lesser energies that have been doing things and been active while she's been away, like naughty children when the mom's gone, they've been doing some fucked up things with our world. And as she's starting to regain in power, for one, they're going to become more in one aspect, they're going to become more aggressive because they're going to start to realize and know that their time is really about to come to an end. So they'll become almost in like a tantrum state, and they'll become aggressive and destructive in that way. Another thing is that she is going to be angry as she's returning and becoming more conscious of what they have been doing while she's been gone. She is not coming back all rainbows and butterflies, y'all. She's coming back. She's gonna be mad, at the dark forces that have been doing things, not at, her devotees and witches and stuff, but or anyone that's just been, being normal, but specifically at these dark forces and energies and spirits that have been doing things that she doesn't like. She's going to be very mad about that, and she's going to be in a destructive state as well, but directed at that. Okay, so be prepared for some dramatic and really destructive things to be happening. There will be, well, first of all, let's just get right into it. This winter is going to be severe, first of all. So I'm finally at 47 minutes in, getting to the first prophecy. I'm sorry that I drug out this video, but y'all needed to know all that information first because it's relevant as well. But this winter is going to be severe, very severe. Which, once again, this is one of the prophecies that I already covered in the recent video that I posted. But the quality of that video was really messed up. It started doing weird things when I was talking about the actual prophetic part of the video. And I think it was because of when I mentioned these beings called the harpies, which Hekate brought up in the oracle that I mentioned on November 4th, 2016. She says, "Before this winter's days are spent, I'll make my worldly paths ascent to reign the solar nighttime long and shroud her with my harpy song." Okay, so Hekate is returning this year. I should have finished reading that. Okay. To reign the solar nighttime long and shroud her with my harpy song, balance restored while I am queen, and deal my deadly destiny. Okay, that's that whole section of the oracle. Now, so she's returning this year, and it's going to be, as I described, an earth-shaking process. Okay, for the reasons I mentioned, because the demonic forces are going to become knowing that their time is limited, and like a child throwing a tantrum, they're going to become like that. And she's going to be angry. and destructive towards them and severe towards them. So things will be very chaotic. Although I have to say it's most likely going to be controlled chaos because she is returning to power, and that means that she'll be controlling the physical realm again, slowly but surely. So, and maybe more chaotic at the beginning of this year, but the further that we get into this year, the more and more of the fact that she will be in control of things will greatly lessen the chaotic factor, or make it into controlled chaos. Now, this winter is going to be severe. And I've basically been seeing visions of like freezing, things freezing, and almost like the entire United States is snowing and snowstorms and ice and different things like that. And I honestly don't know if those dreams and visions are symbolic or literal. But I'm interpreting it as just this winter will be very bad and severe. Okay. Compared to anything recent. And this was an oracle that she did give me before she descended. She had said that things would get very chaotic while she was absent, and she said that the winters would get worse and worse during her descent. So even though she is going to be in the process of ascending from the underworld during the first half of this year, she is still considered in the underworld during that time. So when I compared that with the recent visions and dreams that she's given me, I have to say that this winter is probably going to be very severe. And it could be dangerous, at the least for the people who live in the northern states of the United States. It's going to be very severe and dangerous because there will be power outages and different things like that you need to be prepared for if you're not already. Now this winter will also be like a freak winter as well, because where Hekate mentioned about harpies, I looked that up, what a harpy is, and they're these creatures from Greek mythology that have the head of a woman and the body of a bird, and they represented the destructive aspect of wind. And so I take that to mean something to do with wind. And destructive wind. So that could mean tornadoes, cold fronts, maybe unusual amount of Arctic cold fronts and, the polar vortex and things like that, which if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. But that is something to consider. Hekate talked in the oracle about shrouding the sun with her harpy song. So, I think that this winter is going to be severe, but I also think that the winter of the end of this year will be severe as well. Okay, I have to say that too. And something to do with the sun may come into play with this, because whenever she mentioned about raining the solar nighttime long, the visions that I got was of the sun, like, just not being powerful, like as if it had been drained of power and energy, and it was just like this dim, still giving off a light, but it was like the heat had been taken out of it to a great degree. So I don't really know what that means exactly, but I do think that there's something going on with the sun, and we will see what happens this year, but just pay attention to it. So I think that's like the main prophecies. Like I said, there's not that many because communication with her has been very limited, strained, and hard to interpret. So I don't want to come on here and talk about a lot of things that I don't fully understand yet. Because like I said, that would be irresponsible. But the things that I did share, you can be sure you will see something, peculiar about those things that I mentioned manifest this year. And I think that there will be some very amazing things that also happen this year. Because this is when Hekate is returning. So it's not all going to be devastating things and chaos and this intense weather. There will be some amazing things happening as well on the level of human evolution and spiritual development. As Hekate descended, that was mirrored in people. A lot of shadow work was done during her underworld descent. Once again, it's all connected. It's multi-layered. The cosmic soul, the world soul, the human soul, all multi-layered and connected. And so as she was in the underworld, that was mirrored in people and a lot of events that happened. And as she returns, that will also be mirrored in people. And some amazing events of growth and unity will take place as well. Okay? A lot of times tragedy and devastation serves a greater purpose of getting egos out of the way and getting people to unite at the soul level. And there's a lot of growth that comes out of it. It's a silver lining. Okay? So that's going to be all for this video. But if I get any more information as Hekate is returning and communication with her becomes more clear and consistent, I will do updates throughout this year. Okay? Hail to the witches, hail Hekate, and blessed be.